Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Breakup Brad, and this is part 2 of my special video covering the top 20 ways to get a second chance with your ex. Now, if you haven't already watched part 1, where I cover the first 10 tips, you can do that now by clicking the pop-up here in the corner or the link to part 1 in the description below. So let's begin. Okay, we're starting here with tip number 11, which is take my free quiz to get a realistic idea of your chances. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. Not everyone watching this video is going to be able to get their ex back. And while you'd be surprised at how often my clients who are facing desperate, seemingly hopeless situations actually do end up getting a second chance with their ex, but there are obviously some situations where it's just not ever going to be possible. Taking my free quiz is the easiest way to get a realistic sense of where you stand with your ex and how likely it is that you'll actually be able to win them back. So just go to breakupbrad.com/quiz, answer a handful of questions about your breakup and your ex, and you'll immediately get a results report showing your score out of 100, with higher scores meaning that you have a better shot at getting your ex back. And you'll also get a list of personalized recommendations to maximize your chances. It's free, it takes less than 5 minutes, and it's going to, at the very least, tell you whether you should be optimistic or you should just give up and move on. Now, if your score is above 80, you've got a great chance, and you're probably going to get back together with your ex soon, unless you really make some huge mistakes. If you score between 60 and 80 or so, you still have a decent chance, especially if you score above 70-ish. So you can definitely feel optimistic, even though there is some possibility it won't work out. If you score below 60, things are looking bleak, and you should probably consider moving on. Again, you can take the quiz for free after the video at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Now, tip number 12 is don't try to talk your way back into your ex's arms. Now, I'd be rich if I had a dime for every time one of my clients opened an email by saying something like, my ex and I had a deep 3-hour-long conversation last night, and we talked about all the things that led to our breakup. Many of us have really been conditioned by Hollywood movies and popular media to think that communication is the key to solving any and all relationship problems. And, I get it. It seems logical that talking over the issues in your relationship might help you clear the air, find common ground, agree on what you should change and do differently in the future, etc. And the thought that would help you get back together. But sadly, in my 14 years of experience as a breakup coach, I've seen just how flat out wrong this line of thinking really is. Typically, engaging in any kind of serious heart-to-heart discussions with your ex, even if you feel that it went well or that you addressed some underlying issues that contributed to the breakup, is going to make matters worse rather than better. First of all, it's actually really unlikely that this kind of heavy, serious talk with your ex is actually going to fix anything. Things were so bad that it led to a breakup, and your ex is unlikely to just change their mind after hearing you promise to change or hearing how much you still love them. And secondly, by having this kind of talk with your ex, you're actually reminding them about all of the problems that led to the breakup. You're revisiting old wounds, bringing the problems to the top of their mind, and generally not making your ex want to be around you. So a much better approach is to simply have fun with your ex in any interactions you have with them. So instead of a long, drawn-out conversation full of drama, make them smile and laugh and enjoy themselves. When you talk or text or meet in person, just make sure that they leave the interaction thinking, that was fun, rather than, wow, that was heavy. Help them remember that you're still the same fun, attractive, interesting person that they fell for in the early days of your relationship. Don't bring up the drama and problems that led to where you are right now. Just show them a good time and make sure that they associate the thought of you with feelings of happiness, enjoyment, laughter, companionship, etc. Positive associations that'll make them want to be around you. Okay, and tip number 13 is use open loops when talking with your ex. Now, this is actually a concept that a guest in one of my previous videos from a couple of years ago brought up, and I've actually started, recommending it to my coaching clients with pretty good success. Basically, researchers and psychologists have found that humans are actually hardwired to remember uncompleted tasks, while completed tasks and accomplishments are forgotten about far more quickly. So how does this relate to getting your ex back? Well, by using open loops, by leaving your ex hanging, in other words, and making interactions with him or her feel uncompleted, like uncompleted tasks, rather than closed or completed conversations or interactions, you can force them to spend much of the following hours and days thinking about you and how the conversation was left, open. So an easy way to implement this in everyday situations is to simply make sure you and not your ex are the one who sends the last message or has the last word in any conversations. So instead of, you being the one to finish a text message exchange with a, talk to you later text, simply don't respond to your ex's last message, and that will essentially create an open loop. Anytime you can leave your ex hanging a bit, leave out a bit of detail or end things before they get the full story, you should do so. At least, as long as it doesn't come across as awkward or rude. And this ties in perfectly with tip number 14, create mystery and intrigue. Now, this is an extremely easy technique that you can use on your ex, and it has very powerful subconscious effects on just about everyone. So essentially, you just need to make your ex wonder about something that you said or that you're doing since the breakup by not giving them the full picture or all the details. So some examples of this might include, posting a photo on your social media showing you having fun with some new person of the opposite sex that your ex doesn't know, without any kind of caption or explanation of who the other person is, what your relationship to them is, and what the context of the photo is. Or maybe it could involve making an offhand mention of a friend you're taking to dinner on Saturday, or something along those lines, just during the course of a conversation with your ex. Just drop that kind of reference into a story or a bigger conversation, and then continue on without really giving it a second thought. Or it could mean, hinting at something big and exciting or new in your life that your ex doesn't know about, without giving any more details or confirming if it really is something significant or that it's actually happening at all. So for instance, you could mention that you applied to university in another country last week, or that you're going to be, away most of the summer. And again, you just want to casually make that reference in the course of a conversation without adding any more detail, and ideally, without explaining it at all either. So leave your ex wondering is essentially what the idea behind this is. And let their mind run wild and make up scenarios or worry about who your friend is or where you're going away this summer. They're going to want to know more, and it's going to force them to think about you. And it's once again going to help create that sense of urgency that we talked about earlier. All right, and the next tip is one that we've covered in some of my past videos. Tip number 15, remind your ex of happy shared memories. So you and your ex, presumably you have a history full of fun memories and happy times together. And it's ideal if you can help your ex remember those best moments by subtly reminding them. This is all about creating nostalgia and helping to shift the perception that your ex has of you in the back of their mind. Basically, your ex is going to slowly stop caring about the reasons for your breakup over time, especially if you apply a period of no contact. And they're going to let go of some of the negative memories and problems that led to the breakup. And at the same time, you can help them replace those memories with positive, nostalgic ones by hinting at, particularly happy or shared memories. Then your ex will build associations between the thought of you and the warm, fuzzy feelings that they get when they're reminded of those good times. Now, I've got a bunch of example messages in my X Factor program that are designed to elicit this kind of nostalgia in the back of your ex's mind. But one of the simplest is what I call the question text. It's just a message where you ask your ex something practical and seemingly unrelated while hinting at a really fun time that you shared together. So for instance, you could say something like, hey, do you remember the name of that campground in the desert we stayed at last summer? The one with, where we stayed up all night watching the shooting stars? That was the best trip ever. I really want to go back with some friends this summer. And then, throw in a little winky emoji after you say the best trip ever, or, something like that to lighten it up a little bit. And voila, you've forced your ex to remember and relive that awesome weekend that they spent with you, all disguised as a seemingly simple and legitimate question that they'll probably be able to answer. Like I said, you can check out my full program at breakupbrad.com if you want to get a copy and see all the other example messages like this. But really, any way that you can remind your ex of happy times, sexy times even, is going to create nostalgia and help them think more positively about you and your time together. All right, now on to tip number 16. Don't be too quick or eager when talking to your ex. Look, I know that you're going to be very excited when your ex sends you a message out of the blue, or when you get a chance to see them in person to begin reconnecting and rebuilding the attraction. After all, you probably want nothing more than to see your ex show signs that they're still interested and might be willing to give you another chance. But No matter how positive the news or how excited you are to see or hear from your ex, always keep your excitement and your eagerness in check. Do not immediately agree every time your ex proposes you hang out. Decline once in a while because you're too busy, even if you don't actually have plans. Don't always respond to their texts or calls right away. Leave them on read for a few hours or even until the following day. Be the one to end most conversations, not the other way around. Just generally keep an even keel, even when your ex is showing very positive signs or appears to be warming to the idea of getting back together. You need to keep up that impression of a busy, successful person who has, a busy and fulfilling life outside of your ex. Make sure they know that you're not waiting around for their call, that you're not willing to cancel, on other people just to see your ex, and show them that they need you as much as you need them. All right, tip number 17, go on some dates. Now, we've already talked about carefully using jealousy, and we've discussed the importance of staying busy and continuing to live, an interesting social life after the breakup. But I want to include this as a separate tip because it has even more benefits than beyond those that I just mentioned. Dating again. And I'm not talking about, trying to find somebody to replace your ex or a one-night stand or anything really specific even. Just going on some casual dates can really work wonders on your self-confidence. It can help you feel wanted again. It can help you, keep a perspective on things so that you can see that there is life outside of your ex and that you do have other options if they don't wise up and take you back. But no matter how much, you don't feel like it, try to open up Tinder and line up a date or two. It's probably going to be fun, and it doesn't have to lead to a second date or anything serious. Just take the plunge and enjoy yourself and see what happens. Again, it'll boost your confidence, it'll help you stay positive, and it'll create the jealousy and urgency for your ex that we've already discussed. Okay, on to tip number 18, flirt and create sexual tension. Obviously, this is a tip that should only be used, once you've finished a period of no contact and gotten to the point where you're able to have positive, enjoyable conversations and in-person meetings with your ex. But once you do get to that point, it's time to crank up the sexual tension and flirt with your ex as much as possible without, seeming creepy or over the top. Now, you're going to have to feel it out and adjust things based on how your ex responds. But the more you can flirt, playfully touch your ex here and there, say goodbye with a nice long hug, touch their hair, even, drop a sexual innuendo or a steamy inside joke. Anything that you would do when you're, first dating somebody new or you're hanging out with someone you have a crush on, you should do that to your ex as well. Again, you do need to be careful, not to go overboard, but you need to turn this relationship with your ex into something more intimate and more sexual if it is going to lead to officially getting back together as a couple again. So don't forget to crank up the sexual tension and remind your ex that you know how to satisfy them in bed. All right, now tip number 19, have a proven plan and stick to it. Now, admittedly, this one is a little bit self-promotional, but I really do believe that anybody who's serious about getting a second chance with their ex needs to do their homework and have a clear, proven strategy to make sure that they get the best possible shot at winning them back. Now, of course, I'm going to suggest my best-selling comprehensive guide, The X Factor 2.0. It's a complete step-by-step program that teaches you all of the psychological techniques that I've learned over the past 14 years during my coaching and through all of my research. I've also packed it with countless, what-if scenarios that you might face along the way, and I've addressed each of them, explaining how to handle those situations in order to maximize your chances. Now, you can learn more and sign up with a full risk-free 60-day unconditional money-back guarantee at breakupbrad.com/buy. But even if for whatever reason you can't register for my program, you could at the very least subscribe to my channel here on YouTube, watch my past videos, find trusted coaches and breakup experts with a proven history of success, and actually follow their advice. Just make sure you don't try to wing it, because you'll most likely unknowingly make a mistake that will kill your chances. All right, now lastly, tip number 20 is to take it slow. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just sit around doing nothing for another 2 weeks and think things over. If you really, really want your ex back, you need to take action immediately today before it's too late. But that can often mean you just simply begin a period of no contact today and start to apply all of the other techniques and tips that we've covered in these videos when appropriate. So I'm not saying wait. I'm saying, be cautious and do not rush the process. Because if you come on too strong, if you push your ex too hard, you get a bit too desperate and you send them too many messages in a row, or you become overly eager to make plans. Well, all of these things are going to set off alarm bells in your ex's head. They're going to make them sense your true intentions and your underlying desperation. And it's probably going to undo all of the progress you've made up to that point. So just keep a level head, and never act on emotions, or, at least without taking a deep breath and thinking things over first. Act cool as a cucumber, no matter what, and never push your ex too hard. If you feel that your ex is starting to slip away, it's natural to try and cling on even tighter, to take immediate action to try and stop them. But the best response is actually to back off completely and give them space before trying again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. All 20 proven tips to get a second chance with your ex. Now, I hope you learned something. I hope you take my advice and you put it into practice. Have faith and stick to it, and you're going to have success sooner or later. Remember, if you need my help with your unique situation, you can always sign up for a month of my very affordable one-on-one personal coaching at breakupbrad.com/coaching. And if I do have any spots available right now, you can see my current availability on that page. Sign up today, and I'd love to hear more about your situation and help you get another chance with your ex. Thanks so much for your subscribes and for commenting with your questions or your feedback. And good luck out there, guys. I'll see you next time.